What's going on, Ranger Nation? Captain Marvelous from Midwest Tokusatsu here, and today we are taking a look at the Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger figure. Now, I know I'm super late to reviewing the Wave 2 Lightning Collection figures, but that's because, as I mentioned in my last video with the Magnet Defender, I haven't really had the funds to collect any Wave 2 figures because I've been busy with school, I've cut hours at work, so I'm just now getting around to this, but I promise you there are more figures and more videos coming later down the line. Now starting off with Kimberly herself here, we can see her full figure in the box there. Some of the accessories she comes with, more right there, sorry. Her bow and arrow, blade blaster, and a rendering of Kimberly's face, which doesn't look quite right, but I'll get to that later on. So coming over to the box art, you have a nice image of Kimberly there, bleeds to the side. Her pose on the back with her bow and arrow, and also her little effects piece there. Same image on the side. Nothing on the bottom, but that's to be expected at this point. So coming to her out of box, I'm already noticing some joint issues in her legs, where in the box, I've heard this from other reviewers, mind you, so I'm not the only one. You see her in this stance that allows her to have her legs kind of closed there, and it might be the way how they had her pose in the box to kind of have her legs in this bow position where they can't close as far as they should. And also, her knees are kind of stiff as well. Like, that's kind of been a problem on other figures as well out of the box. So that's not just her. And it's especially bad on this one where I really don't want to risk any breakage there. But while we have her in hand, let's look at articulation. So starting at the bottom, she's got a foot swivel. I don't think this boot cut moves at all. It looks like it could, but I guess not. Obvious knee bend. And also coming up here, regardless of her skirt, just like with Beast Morphin's yellow, the skirt is made of a soft plastic that still allows her a decent range of motion, so that's not a hindrance at all. Coming up to the body, she's got an abdomen swivel, and then I think they mentioned this when they first announced this figure, but they added what I think is called a butterfly effect, or a butterfly joints to her chest that allows her this back and forth range of motion. Then she's got arm movement, elbow, hand, and the usual ball jointed head. She's standing like a cowboy. But now as you've seen the figure, let's take a look at accessories. So as for everything that she comes with, she's got her power bow, blade blaster, arrow, effects piece, second pair of hands, and the Kimberly head. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this looks kind of awkward because I'm pretty sure for the older Ranger figures, they didn't use any of the 3D face rendering technology that they use for the Beast Morphers Rangers. So, I've seen it with Zack as well, and even Jason, but like, a lot of the older figures do look kind of off when it comes to the swappable heads, but I actually still like this because it's like having a better version of the Automorphin figures. Much more accurate. Now moving over to some poses here. I did the best that I could with her legs, but at this point it is what it is. Now I had a much easier time dealing with the bow and arrow. Albeit the arrow, it was a bit hard at first, not that hard, but I still had somewhat of a difficult time trying to figure out where that peg went in between her fingers, but it didn't take me that long. Now the bow was the easiest part because all I had to do was, just slip the handle in the left hand and that was that. And here we have her with the effects piece. The blade blaster, which can store tightly right here in her holster. The second pair of hands. And the Kimberly head. Now, it doesn't really make her look any less awkward, but regardless of that aspect, this is actually something I've loved about the Lightning Collection so far, is that we can actually pose the figures with their civilian heads, with their helmets, just like in the show. And with Power Rangers figures, like, that's just kind of been unheard of up until this point. So once again, props there to Hasbro for that. So just work on the features a little more in the future, but so far, like, the concept is great. So capping off here, this is an okay release from the Lightning Collection. I guess, despite the flaws that I mentioned earlier with the leg joints and the head sculpt, I'd still say this is a pretty solid release because regardless of those issues, all the detail that's there, or that needs to be there, is there. Because I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the belt buckle, the Morpher, is done really nicely, especially with the power coin there. They actually made a visible image of the pterodactyl coin. So that's to be appreciated. But if you're still not sure on whether or not you should get this, I'd say go for it if you're trying to complete the MMPR team especially. Just be aware of those few minor issues. So that's going to just about do it for her. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on my social media at Midwest Tokusatsu. Links will be in the description. And this is your captain, signing out.